Hi friends, Shawna Klingerman here for Archer and Olive, and I am so excited to share with you today how I am incorporating simple watercolor designs into my everyday journaling practice. I've been journaling almost every morning for years now, and the practice of daily journaling has had such a huge impact on my life. Recently, I decided I wanted to use more of my own artwork in my daily journaling. Plus, I really wanted to work some creative practice time into my morning journaling sessions. So this practice of painting with watercolor directly onto my journal pages was born. I know that sometimes picking up new creative tools like watercolor can feel really intimidating, but I am here today to show you that using watercolor in your journaling can be so easy. The supplies that you'll need for this project are very simple. Obviously, you're going to need a journal. I am using a white dot grid A5 journal from Archer and Olive. And today we will really be taking advantage of these thick, luscious 160 GSM pages because they are thick enough to handle a little bit of water. You are also going to need some watercolor paint. I highly recommend these watercolors from Archer and Olive. I have them stored in this simple magnetic watercolor tin, and I can honestly say these are my very favorite watercolor paints. You will also need a paintbrush. I most often use a round brush, like the ones shown here, but a flat brush is also extremely useful, and we will be using this tool for one of the designs that I show you today. We are working with watercolor, so obviously you're going to need some water. Finally, don't forget your favorite journaling pen because this is a journaling activity after all. My favorite way to create a journal spread is to start with the watercolor design. This means that right off the bat, I have to consider where my artwork will live on my page. There really is no wrong place to start when it comes to adding a watercolor design. However, these are a few things I consider when deciding where to place my artwork on a blank spread. The first tip I have is to work around the edges. The edges of your pages already create a natural visual border for each spread, so working inward from the edges really helps to anchor your design. Another tip I have for you is to group your designs. Clustering and grouping your designs together gives your page a more intentional look. So instead of scattering your artwork all over the place, choose several spots on your page to cluster your designs together. This will make a big difference when it comes to the visual impact of your page. As you are adding your artwork, also consider the balance of your page. This is about the visual weight of the designs on your page. When you place something large on one side of your design, consider how you're going to balance it on the other side of the page. Another tip I have for you is the rule of threes. This is just a nice little extra that helps me regularly because everything just looks better in a group of three. Now, before we move on, I wanted to share with you that over on the Archer and Olive blog, I have something special for you. Not only do I have a description of how I create all of the designs in my journal, but I also have this free printable that you can download that will walk you through all of the steps of creating your own watercolor designs in your own journaling. That post is filled with detailed information, techniques, and step-by-step for each one of these designs, so definitely go check it out. What do you think, friends? Are you ready to see a full page in progress from start to finish? I'm going to pick up this beautiful twilight color and I'm just going to show you how I create a page step by step. So because it's my very favorite design, I am going to use this opportunity to create a journal page with swoops. No matter what design I decide to do on my pages, I always start with the watercolor step first. Now that I have my first cluster of swoops done, it is time to add some swoops in a few other places. I'm going to rotate my book as I go and keep the balance of my page in mind as I choose a few more spots to add some swoops. Once my other swoops were done, I realized I wanted my original swoop to kind of go out a little bit more along the bottom of the page. So I'm just going to continue building out from that swoop until it's just right. The next step for me is usually adding a few affirmations or quotes. This is purely optional, and if lettering stresses you out, I don't think that this is what you should do on your page. That being said, hand lettering is something I like to practice on a daily basis, so these journal pages give me the opportunity to write down something that inspires me and that helps build my skill. Well, we did all of the fancy things, all of the more difficult things. Now comes the most simple step of all, and that is simply journaling in all of the empty space that is left on our page. What you choose to journal about is absolutely up to you, but I do want you to notice that as I journal, I'm writing messy, it might not even be legible. I liberally cross things off, break words up, do whatever I need to just quickly and simply get my heart and soul down on my page. Really, the only thing that I think about during this time as far as layout goes is simply keeping space between the artwork and the words that are already on the page and my journaling. So I use these little dot grid dots kind of as guidelines to make sure that my journaling isn't infringing on the space that belongs to my design. I am the type of person that likes to see a thing all the way through, so when I am journaling on one of these layouts, I just keep writing words until I get to the end of the page. Sometimes those last few sentences are a little extra creative or a little redundant, but it's worth it to me to fill up my entire journal page. Well, there you have it. One complete watercolor journal page using watercolors in my Archer and Olive dot grid journal. I hope that this was inspiring to you. I'm so curious to hear if this is something that you have done or something that you want to try. I'm telling you, it's really fun. It is not complicated, and you are going to love having your own artwork living inside the pages of your journal. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. Don't forget to go pick up your free printable over on the Archer and Olive blog. And until next time, friends, keep creating.